All right, good morning. I'm Tom McMasters, and I am a candidate for U.S. Congress. And you can see here now that I am not a particularly good speaker, but I am going to talk to you today about data centers. So there's a few things about data centers that I'd like to talk about. And let's get into the PowerPoint that I've presented. When I was originally looking at the idea, what I was thinking about was that I would address the water usage of data centers. So, you see a lot of things on YouTube, or you see a lot of things in the news about communities all up in arms about water. And so I have on here on the screen one of the videos that I determined was pretty good. And so when I started to looking at that, this particular screen caught my attention, right? Even though you hear a lot about the data centers using a lot of water, when you get into the presentation, you'll see that the majority of the water used in this country right now is used to cool power plants. Yeah, I was very surprised about that. And then irrigation is next, and then you have public supply of water. That's what we drink and flush our toilets with, is where you use a lot of, or is only 12% of the water. However, why the data center, this 2% right there gets a lot of attention, or 0.2%. That 0.2% gets a lot of attention because most of that comes from this 12%, and then even though 0.2% of all the water used out there is 1.6% of just this public supply of water, when you actually go into a community, that could be a significant amount of water. Let's see. Oh, but before I get into that, just to get an idea that a single gas power plant can use up to 6.7 million gallons of water, and that's like 2 billion gallons of water in a year. So that's pretty significant for the power plants. So a lot of the things I talk about in the data center will actually apply to power plants as well. So what did I pull this out for? So 500,000 gallons for a big data center. If you think of that, about that as part of a community, because this water normally will come from the communities in which it lives, Huber Heights uses about 5 million gallons a day. So if the data center is using 500,000 gallons, that's about 10% of that community. So that's why it looks like a lot and making a lot of the news. If you take 10% of the water out of where I live right now, that would be a significant amount. So I pulled this picture off of that presentation, and it kind of gives you an idea of what it looks like for the current data centers. And in here you see that water will come in, it'll cool the plant out, and actually have this water right here stays in the plant itself, and then this water right here is water that cools the plant, and then it comes out there and it gets evaporated out. The heat that comes into that new water gets evaporated out, and when water evaporates, it causes cooling, and that's where all the water ends up going. And that's why you end up using 500,000 gallons, because even though this water stays the same throughout the whole process, this water here gets evaporated off because the evaporation process actually is what caused the cooling. And that's a significant amount of water that you end up coming out there using. So looking at that, the other thing is this evaporated cooling process, when that water goes off there, that actually can cause a lot of pollution. And that's because in order, when all this water gets set off into the atmosphere, a lot of it makes it really moist, which would cause a lot of fungi and stuff to go. So they put chemicals in it in order to not get a lot of that extra bacteria growth and stuff. So if you get rid of this part of the process right here, where it goes evaporation, you get rid of a lot of the pollution. So, when I was doing all this research in there, I'm going, well, why would we do all that, right? If you just take and you go from the tower and you cool down the water using water that's going from the tower, and then you take it into the house, then you don't have to have it evaporated, and you don't have to use it at all. You're just using that water to cool the other water down, right? And so I was thinking to myself, hey, here's another stupidest genus type thing. It's a kind of a solution that seemed pretty obvious to me, and I wondered why nobody else was thinking about it and stuff. And as it turns out, I found another video where this company Equinox tells us that that's what they actually do. So I'm going to pull that video up and play that a little bit for you. If I find it, where is it? That's right there. Right, and you can see that they're hawking the same thing. Let me go back to this one right here for a second, and we'll talk a little bit about that. So when I was thinking about making this video, this is one of the things that I really wanted to introduce myself about, right? Because this is kind of how I think. I think that we could do a lot better in this country if we were able to pony off of each industry, right? Because it makes no sense to me, right? And going back to the underground pipes, right? On base, this is what I was thinking when I created this photo in the first place. On base, where I work, you heat in the wintertime by heating up water and pumping it to all the buildings on base, right? So you could do that. It makes no sense to generate all this heat over here, or all the heat over here in these thermal nuclear powers, and then just throw it up into the atmosphere, right? All the heat from here that you're using all this water for, and all the heat, where'd I go? And all the heat from this process right here could go into all these homes right there and be saving a lot of people in the community money. So if you had next to all these data centers a whole community that was getting free hot water forever, or free heat in the winter times, right, you'd have a lot less community outrage about all the water and all the power that was being used. And that's not really that difficult a solution. So I would, as introduction to myself, tell you that that's the kind of thing that I think about. That's the kind of thing that I would promote as far as solutions for what we're seeing in there. Now, companies, don't want to put that extra money in at the beginning. But I mean, if you think about this, right, there's this water right here at 500,000 gallons a day is costing that company $2 million a year in water, right? So you get rid of that $2 million for paying for that water, and you have them pay for the infrastructure to make this free. It's a little bit of an upfront cost, but it certainly will be better for them in the long run as well. So you get that public-private partnership and help the community and use the energy that's already being used for one thing so it doesn't have to be made again. All right. So that's one of the things about how I think about for solutions. But the other thing about water that came up recently is I have gotten a few things about these NDAs about this community right here that is doing all the stuff in the background for. All right, let me stop sharing for right now. So the other thing that I'm talking about here is this particular incident where you have commissioners in a local community that's come across my feed that signed NDAs to do all this stuff in the background. If you know me, you know that I believe that when public officials go in the background and start doing all these negotiations and stuff like that, they end up getting taken advantage of pretty significantly by a lot of these companies. And so that's happened a lot. So that's happened a lot in Huber Heights, right? Where I was mayor, we go into executive session and the council members just have no clue, right? And so when I don't believe that NDAs for public officials make any sense whatsoever. I can't believe that you would get anything positive out of these companies. They'll just be taken advantage of with getting tax breaks and giving things away instead of getting things, right? The purpose of the beginning of this video is for me to say, hey, this is how you can get things for the community, and these guys right here are basically giving things away. They're giving tax breaks away, giving water away. They're not getting a positive impact for their community. And so as you can see right here, I don't believe that it's consistent with the open records laws of Ohio to even have commissioners be able to sign NDAs, right? I think it's probably illegal right now because they have an obligation under the open records law to produce emails for anything that they do on behalf of the county, produce all these records, right? So they can't sign an NDA, right? All that stuff has to be done in public. It's the law. So What have I put up here for solutions? Well, I did want to talk about running for state representation as a libertarian. You can still get on the ballot as a libertarian up until February 23rd of 26 as a write-in candidate, and if you get 25 votes, then you will be on the ballot in November. So we'll talk about that a little bit on the next slide. But I think these people should be filing a complaint with the Ethics Commission, right? They can't sign NDAs. So the Ethics Commission should take care of that by itself without much cost to the people that are upset about it. So the people in Clinton County should be writing the Ethics Commission complaining that their commissioners aren't allowed to sign NDAs and having them reprimanded for it because it's not consistent with the ethics laws, not consistent with the open records laws. All right, and if the Ethics Commission doesn't do their job, then it should be challenged in court. And any agreement that was made to them should be null and void with that. So again, that's how I think, but that is for state representative. So more than for Congress, but that gets you out here to my pitch, right? I think it would be good for my candidacy if there were state representative people running for state representative on the ballot come November. So I'm hoping that some of you will be write-in candidates. All right, and you have until February 23rd. If you go onto the Libertarians website, this is actually counting down. I did this yesterday, so it's less than 12 days when I did this. Of course, it's going to be less than 12 days when you're watching the video. And this is a nice little thing. A lot of people say, oh, libertarians are all crazy. They don't have to be crazy, right? They're just independent a lot. But you can see that the official libertarian positions are not that crazy. I have gotten in discussions with people that think that the government should be disbanded and everybody should do stuff like wagon trains. All right, it's some of them can be pretty goofy, but that's not the official type positions of the Libertarian Party or myself, obviously. And that is the longer video for data centers and water usage. And thank you very much if you've made it this far. And we'll talk to you again next time. Vote time McMasters for Congress this November.